Good morning again. It is great to have standing room only in here. Didn't our youth do a great job during worship today? Thank you. Yeah, thanks to each of you. Yeah. And we are just really excited to share with you from our experiences of the summer. And so I'm going to be brief in providing you with an overview of our time for the rest of this morning so we can get right to our headliners. This past summer, our youth engaged in activities with intentional and unique focus on faith and exploration of their spiritual lives in the form of pilgrimage to Ireland and that unique focus on service in the form of home repair in Appalachia. Now, while you may think that one or the other activity had more value, depending on where you stand on the faith versus work spectrum, I hope you'll see and hear today that both the pilgrimage and the service opportunities are critical to growing into joyful and mature members of our faith community, as these people are. We're first going to hear from our J2A programs, who will explain a bit about why Ireland and the Celtic culture lent itself so well to pilgrimage. And they'll share highlights from the week through photos, personal reflections, and testimonials. Our pilgrims will close this portion of our program with a special charge to our next group of J2A pilgrims. Freshmen and sophomores who are just beginning this journey. And next, we're going to hear from youth from 12 years through 12th grade who participated in our Camp Joy week of home repair service in Appalachia this past July. And finally, after they talk, we'll have some thank yous to express, and we'll open the floor up to your questions. And now I'm going to invite Nathan Job, our J2A Pilgrim MC, for this portion of the program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again for coming. As Dawn said, welcome to the J2A and Camp Joy Forum. I'm Nathan Job. I was one of the pilgrims who went to Ireland the last year. And I just want to start off by introducing Avery, who's going to give us our introduction to the pilgrimage, why Ireland, and our theme.
I don't know. Oh, sorry. Hey. Hi, I'm Avery Moffat, and okay. Oh, sorry. So in our J2A class we were preparing for this trip for about 2 years, and over the past year we were thinking about like themes and thoughts that resonated with us through like Ireland and how we came to this point, because we weren't originally planning to go to Ireland. We had a few complications, but it ended in the best way and we got to go to Ireland and it was so much fun. So I hope you'll see that through the next few slides. But as you can see, we're all wearing these t-shirts that we wore on the first day there and a few other times throughout our trip. And Amelia Tattlebaum designed it for us, so thank you to her. And we all voted on it, so that's good. And we have 2 hashtags. I think we have 1 hashtag and then J2A, obviously. And we also have our theme on the back, as you can see. And so we got to pick both of these, and we just came up with a bunch in class and we all voted. So we chose hashtag Inspireland. This is just supposed to be like kind of a fun like hashtag that resonated with where we're going. And then we chose as our theme Finding the Road in Ireland because it is after the Irish blessing. And we thought that would kind of tie in everything together and not only make it fun, but also spiritual and resonate with our goal, which was to grow together as a community and find ourselves with God somewhere else and overall have a good experience. So, yeah. I don't know what else. Oh, wait, also, um, me and my fellow pilgrims, it was 17 of us, and unfortunately, two of them aren't with us today. One moved back to Australia, Alyssa, and one moved to Taiwan. Taiwan for 2 years to do school with his mom, James. So just want to recognize him for a quick second. And yeah.
Next, I'd like to introduce Nora, who will be talking about self-traditions, concepts, and God sightings.
Okay, so we had a couple Celtic traditions that we wanted to honor on our trip to Ireland. And that would kind of help us on our journey of discovering God. So our first one is thin places, which is kind of a Celtic like spiritual concept of any place where the divide between like physical and the spiritual world is thinner. So kind of anywhere where you feel closer to God and kind of closer to a more spiritual place. Um, and this kind of also goes into creation is sacred because a place that I think we all felt closer to spirituality was on our hike in the mountains, which also showed us that creation is sacred because when you're somewhere that beautiful and that like naturally stunning, you really feel the presence of God and his creation. Everyday holiness was a big part of what we did. We would pray in the morning, we do vespers at night. Um, and so that kind of came through like when we were going to church and when we were praying, but also like everything we did and the community that we built. And I think we all felt with each other. Definitely felt holy. Anam Cara means soul friend or like soul connection. So it's anybody that you feel connected to on a spiritual, like soulful level. And I definitely feel like everyone made those kind of connections on this trip. Imagination and symbolism. We were really just trying to, take pieces of the Bible and the Word of God. We would have like a verse or like a little saying every day that we would think about, and we'd think about how it made us feel and like what it meant to us. And so it was kind of like taking like a personal look at how we view scripture and religion. For hospitality and pilgrimage, obviously, we went on the pilgrimage, but hospitality, we saw that in a lot of places. We were staying at a farm with this man who like led us onto his farm to stay there. He was very hospitable. He was very nice. He gave us so much while we were there. He like cooked for us. He just it was a lot. Having 17 more than 17 people in your house was a big commitment for him. So we're very grateful for that. And then we just saw hospitality in a lot of other places. I remember we went to church on the Sunday that we were there, and the priest and everybody else there was so welcoming and just really, really kind. And so we saw all these themes while we were there. Yeah.
Next up, I'd like to introduce two more of our pilgrims, Riley and Naeem, to talk about our day one arrivals, first impressions of Ireland, and how it was when we got our first look around.
So I think the most significant part about the beginning of our trip was that it was the least close any of us were to each other. From this point onward, it was all uphill. The airport was really smooth to start. Um, the problem was we knew that once we got to Ireland, we had an entire day left to stay up and like be in Ireland. Um, it was a long flight. When we got to the airport in Ireland, we realized someone had left their passport on the plane and we could not get into the country. Thankfully, the Irish security were really, they were really nice. They let us in. And she got her passport eventually before we left.
I have a mic.
Okay.
So after we had been sitting at the airport for a little bit, our guide or the man we were staying with, John, came and picked us up and he took us on what he would like to say a very calm walk, which in hindsight it probably was, but after being up for 12 hours, it was a long walk. We walked around, I want to say it was like a hill, but we also got to see these buildings, which there was a graveyard, I want to say an old church. It was really cool and pretty to look at. Unfortunately, it was very tiring and my feet really hurt, but it was a lot of fun. And so then we actually, do you want to talk about your encounter that you had?
This is a little bit personal, but while we were on this walk, I hear someone say my name and I look up and my uncle, who lives in Georgia, happened to be on the same trail that we were on at the same time.
Oh, last.
Believe it or not, this is not the last time we met in Ireland.
And so after that was crazy already. We finally got back to the house that we were staying at, and these were what we were staying in. They're called yurts. There were about 3 of them for the 17 of us. So there were 7 girls in one, and then 5 boys and 2 others. It was 5 and 5. And it was a big adjustment from our normality or whatever, because these are like, they're better than tents, but they're not a house. We had like actual bed frames and mattresses, which was really nice, but it was close spaces. And we had a bathroom with 2 showers and 2 toilets that we had to share for the 17 of us, which was a little challenging, but it was fun. And it was, honestly, it was beautiful. Also, a thing that I guess I didn't really think about when going to Ireland is that it stays lighter, like a lot later. Like it was probably 10 p.m. and it looked like it was 5 p.m. out. Like it was, we went to bed and the sun was still up and we went to bed late, but it was a lovely day. Long day, but lovely.
Next up, I want to invite another one of our pilgrims, Brady, with Naeem to talk about hospitality, daily routines, and group activities.
The place we were staying, I know Nora described it as a farm. The farm was next door. This place was more of an Airbnb type of situation. There was John's house, his daughter's house, I think, and then in the back was this field with the 3 yurts. One of them was bigger than the other 2. That was the girl one. I'm jealous. The boys got the 2 smaller ones, and it was like Riley said, it was 5 guys in 2 tents and then 7 girls in 1 tent. There was a dog. His name was Samson. He was really, really sweet. And then there was a trampoline. John actually had 2 grandchildren, Bo and, do you remember her name? And Sophia. And they were really fun. They were pretty young. We just got to run around with them.
Yeah, a little bit like about the evening time, and this is a photo, obviously. And Riley said it got dark much later, so we were up a little bit later. But I think honestly, that's some of the most enjoyable parts for me. Is just like hanging around with everyone. We playing card games or just I don't know, kicking a soccer ball, something like that. This is a trampoline. We all tried to do a flip on it or like learn how to do a flip if you couldn't already. which is another really cool thing we did. In the mornings too, I think we've touched on this, but we did some prayer and grounding, which is really nice, just like, creating a communal space. And sharing how we feel every day. The same routine was awesome. And then we did Vespers at night, which is where we just reflect on the day, maybe talk about God settings, just like anything you thought was impactful or meant something. So yeah.
I feel like I have to mention the bathrooms. It was it was a small building, 2 shower stalls and 2 toilets, shared by about 20 people. That was a conflict that stayed for about 4 days. And we spent those 4 days trying to figure out a system that worked for all of us. We had people who wanted to shower at night. We had almost no one who wanted to shower in the morning. I was kept up on the first night for like 3 hours because of people fighting over the bathroom. And I'm still upset. It ended up working itself out. People compromised, people sacrificed their nighttime shower and took a morning shower. And things, by the 5th day, no one was upset.
I mean, yeah, at one point, there was literally like a schedule where you had to, and then we spun a wheel and we each, we're going at this time and then you go for 15 minutes. It was pretty ridiculous, but I don't know, we compromised at the end.
Next up, we have 2 more pilgrims, Zach and Matilda, talking about our day 2 experience, talking about different stuff like the Irish breakfast, the famine boat, and a bunch of other stuff.
So day 2, woke up early. It was a nice break, I think, from the somewhat organized chaos of the first day. I got pretty good sleep. I can't speak for everybody else, obviously, but yeah, and then we headed into town and we got a traditional Irish breakfast from this place on a river and next to a galleon. It was very cool. Except they had this blood sausage thing, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, but yeah. I'll leave it at that. You want to talk about the ship?
Yeah. So after we got breakfast, we went, I believe they were in the same building. We went downstairs and got a tour of like this replica of a ship that once upon a time long ago brought a bunch of Irish. Wait, I don't know. But did it bring them from Ireland to the US? Okay, it brought them from Ireland to the US and there were like actors in the ship who like reenacted what it was like and that was fun. And then we exited the ship and saw this statue of JFK in Ireland because he has Irish ancestry and he's an important person to the Irish. So yeah.
And I was the captain of the ship, by the way. He made me captain. Yeah.
Yeah, they had interactive roles, so oh, that's the one on the bottom right is next to the JFK statue, by the way. And then after we just walked around some gardens and in this picture right here, you can see this was like a window where John told Flynn, I believe, that he wow. Like John told Flynn that he would become president. That he would have a prosperous life. Yeah. 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 I think I've been encouraged not to talk about it, so like, do you want to say anything else? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're done, I think.
Like, guys, don't you remember, like, they told him.
Next up, we have Hugh and Nora talking about stone soup and what that is. I don't know what that is.
Okay, so we had this thing that we would do where they split us up into 3 different groups and we all cooked dinner. One of the nights we made a menu, we went to Tesco and we got all our ingredients. I mean, I think it was really just like a collaboration exercise, but it was really fun. I think I'm trying to see. I don't think they have a picture of group 2, which was the group I was in, and we didn't win. So just felt like I should mention that. But it was really fun. Yeah.
It was like it was just like really unique experience, you know, like gathering all the ingredients, like cooking and all that. Because some people don't even know how to cook, you know. So that was a whole thing, you know. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really just to get us to collaborate and figure out how to work as a team, and it was, I think, a really good bonding.
I'd like to introduce 2 more pilgrims, Amelia Munoz and Rafe, to talk about our 3rd day and what we did.
Well, I'm Rafe Tartle.
I'm Amelia Munoz. Um, well, so this first picture is from J2A Abbey, and this was the first thing we did that morning. Well, we had breakfast and stuff, and then we drove here, and we kind of just got a tour. This is where we started to like really get into Irish history and like learning about stuff. We learned about a lot of saints because the monks that lived at this abbey, their graves were there, and we would learn about the stories of what was like hand carved into their tombs. It was really cool. And then we went to Kilkenny Castle later that afternoon, and Rafe can tell you about that.
Yeah, so after the Abbey, we went to a castle. It was beautifully decorated inside. It had all sorts of historical paintings and memorabilia from the people. But even more fun for me was out front. I left my phone on a bench for 10 minutes. And when we were walking around the town, there were a bunch of phone stores with sketchy looking phones that were locked. I think my phone also became one of those because when I went back to that bench, it was not there any longer.
And where is it now?
It's now in Ukraine, in Kiev, which is, I mean, could be worse. But after the castle, we went back. I think we stayed in the farm area for a little bit, and we went around the town, just walked around with each other, got to experience what it was like to be in Ireland, what the different stores were like.
Oh, and in Kilkenny, the boys discovered like a protein milk that they
Oh yeah.
kept drinking throughout the rest of the trip. There were a lot of energy drinks and a lot of protein milk purchased.
Yeah, the protein chocolate milk was really good. I had a bunch. Zach had a bunch. I think Zach will tell you about his Red Bull. He had a lot of Red Bull. Mountain Dew. Monster. And you. But then I think that was how we ended off the day, just walking around the town. Came back, did our usual card games that night, had some fun. I think that's
Broke
it.
some fingers. Taco Cat Gochi's Pizza, the card game that Amelia talked about earlier. It's a really intense card game.
But that's it. Thank you.
Next up, we have Avery and Flynn talking about what we did on day 4 of our trip. So please welcome them up.
Want me to start? Okay, so this is our day 4. You can see there's some funny pictures. We woke up and we had breakfast as usual, and we got to walk around. You can see this really cool picture with all the umbrellas. And I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be a different plan for this day, but it didn't end up working out. So we got to go swim in the Irish Sea and play. If you see this thing, there's like a bunch of different like inflatable slides and like trampolines, and we had to have wetsuits on because it was really cold, and helmets, and we all look a little silly, but it was so much fun. And do you want to say how you felt about it?
Yeah, after the adventure on the water, by the way, the water was incredibly freezing. It, I think we walked in a town, like a small town. You got to check out some shops, and you got to talk to some people. Um,
I remember we also got ice cream after, and we have a really funny picture of one of our friends, James, eating ice cream. And also, some people are vicious. We were running around on this thing, and you would get pushed off and like scratched. And I remember just like feeling like a kid. And Kathy was saying that this is like the most she's laughed in a long time, and that it was really funny. And also, the kids that we were staying with would just come up behind you and like push you into the water. And like they didn't care at all. It was an adventure to say the least.
Next up, we have Amelia Tattlebaum, Brady, and Felix talking about what we did day 5 of our trip.
You got it. Start.
Okay, so things started to kind of move along at a normal pace at this point. We had been there for 5 days. We kind of became acclimated to it. So in the morning, it was Sunday. We woke up. We went to not really a local Episcopalian church. It's probably 45 minutes away. So we went there. We went to service. It was pretty cool. It was a little bit different than what we had here. So it was pretty unique to be able to see that. Just to give an overall view, we then went from service to a hurling game, which you can see me and Brady down here hurling using these random kids' hurleys because they were generous enough to let us use them and use them incorrectly. And then after that, we went back to which one of the towns we went to one of the previous days. By this point, everything was a blur. Waterford. And then we kind of just hung out there.
Yeah, so when we went into town, after the hurling game, we had like 2 or 3 hours, I think, to just walk around, just see. And me and Hugh, we went down to the train station in Waterford, and then we waited there to see a train come in, and that was really cool for me. Thank you, Hugh, for agreeing to that and letting me drag you with. Then we got McDonald's afterwards, so I feel like it's kind of like it's only fair.
Yeah, Amelia mentioned we met some kids at the hurling match. This sport is pretty crazy. I don't know if any of you guys know, but they were teaching us about it. If there's like one group or one person that I would choose as like most representative of the Irish population, would probably be these kids. They were really welcoming and really generous and really kind. They also swore probably every third word. But yeah, just really nice. They were curious about us. They were, we were talking to them about our school and like, their school, what that was like. So that was really cool. Church is pictured here. It was, really similar to our service, but also, different in some ways. And it was cool to just see how it's different, I guess.
Going back to the hurling for 1 second, one of the kids that we played with claimed that his dad was like the best hurler in the country. So if that's true, that's pretty cool. If it's not, there you go.
Next up, we have Riley, Henry, and Zach to talk about our mountain hike day. You already know how I feel about that, but.
Awesome. So we started by taking a bus ride to this very cool mountain, which we hiked for like 1 or 2 hours to get to the top. They had so you can see here, Great Lake is really, really cold. Me and Rafe swam a lap in it, and it was a lot of suffering, I think. But and I started seeing purple, I think after like 30 minutes when I was reading my letter. But yeah, me and Naeem and Brady actually went the farthest. Hiked all the way up to the top. So I don't know if you can see it, but that's a picture of me. That like up there, I guess. Yeah. Yes.
So as Amelia had talked about in her sermon, after we had hiked all the way up this mountain, which as Nathan had said, like halfway up that mountain, I was like, do I really want to keep going? But I made it up. And so after our swim, we all like dispersed throughout like different rocks and stuff, and each got letters from our parents to read. And it was really surreal because we hadn't talked to our parents really that much in like 6 days. Sure, when we were back at the yurts, we would send a text or whatever, but we really didn't talk to them that much. So getting to read a letter that they had wrote previously was really something. And so as Amelia talked about in her sermon, after reading my letter, like I looked up and I saw people sitting on a rock together. And so I came up and sat with everybody. And I don't love to be like vulnerable around people, especially with a group that I felt like I didn't know all that well. At this point, I knew way too well, but it felt really nice to just be around a group of people and be vulnerable and just let it all out, all of our emotions and stuff. It was really a bonding experience.
Testing. Okay, so this was probably my favorite day of the trip. And quick side tangent, the breakfast situation in where we were staying was definitely like a close reenactment of the Hunger Games. It was yeah, there was just like bread, jam, and milk and cereal. Some people would just get only bread, some people only milk. It was bad. But so I'm on my 6th like peanut butter and Nutella sandwich for the week. And we're going up this mountain, and I'm like, I'm not a big hike guy, so this is like not my cup of tea. But then we get to the top, and like that middle picture right there is probably the best one. It was the most beautiful sight I've ever seen in my life. There was this huge lake. It was the Glacier Lake, and I wasn't planning on going swimming because I'm more of a hot shower guy, but yeah, I was like, this is like too beautiful not to get in. It's like perfect water. I mean, not temperature wise, but so I I think I go in my shorts, right? And this was probably the closest I've ever felt to God, genuinely. Not only was like my body going numb, so that was definitely an experience, but like it just felt so peaceful. Like it was just me, my thoughts, and this like huge body of water. Um, and I think water is how I like connect with God. I have showers that I really like. I like the beach. Uh, there's like, yeah. So water's good. And it was just a really clearing moment. I felt really present in this moment. I was just like, I didn't have any other thought on my mind other than just like I'm in Ireland, like in the best place possible. So I'm gonna end off this day with a quote. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. Thank you.
We also got Indian food, which is really good.
Next up, we have Amelia Munoz and Rafe talking about what we did day 7 at the Dunbrody Abbey and Maze. Here you go.
And so this was the 7th day. We're all getting pretty used to each other. We're also getting used to the abbeys. I think this was like the 3rd or 4th abbey, maybe. It was a lot of abbeys.
This is except this was the picture Abby. This is where we got like a bunch of Instagram pictures and stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, it was about what we expected for the abbey. It was fun, but we had a lot more fun with the maze, which we did afterwards, as well as the golfing before that, where I got to hit some balls around. I mean, I might have lost a ball hitting it as hard as I could, but it was just fun in general.
Well, after that, we ended up going to Hook Lighthouse, which is the 2nd oldest functioning lighthouse in the world and the oldest in Ireland. And I felt like that was really cool because my mom's from Maine, and so we have like our lighthouses. And in the lighthouse, on like the 2nd floor, after you go up the stairs, it shows you where different lighthouses are around the world and how far they are from where you are. And I thought that was really cool because there was another lighthouse I had been to in Maine. Um, yeah, then we went on a cliff walk. Do you want to talk about your cliff walk?
Yeah, the cliff walk was really fun to go on. It was just amazing how the cliffs have been like, carved out over the years from the water hitting against them. There's a picture of James and Zach. James who couldn't join us today because he's in Taiwan. But that was just a ton of fun. It was beautiful to see. And after that, all that walking, we walked to the nearest town and got fish and chips there.
Also,
Which-
on that cliff walk, that we were walking through different people's like farms, like it's fields of cows. So we're jumping over like fences. Some of them have barbed wire, but we're all no tetanus here. We're good. Um, there's a lot of cow poop that we avoided, and none of us the cliffs were like super high up. Like these were so beautiful. There aren't any pictures. Well, you can kind of see it in this one, but when you're walking, it's like grass and then stone and then big drop and then tons of water, and it was so pretty. You can talk about it.
Yeah, so we ended it off just with the fish and chips that it said. Some people liked them, some people hated them. They were pretty good in my opinion, and I don't like fish that much. But that was just how we ended off the day. Headed back after that, I believe.
Yeah.
And then just went to bed. Thank you.
Perfect. Now I'd like to bring back Amelia Tattlebaum and Brady to talk about our closing, how we were trying to find the road in Ireland, and yeah.
So throughout this trip, there were a bunch of different things that happened where it kind of became countless. But to kind of just close it, when our final night, we had a meeting together where we talked about, again, what is one thing we're thankful for and how are we feeling? And this entire circle, we were sitting there, and I think I've never cried that hard in front of other people where I was sobbing and laughing at the same time because I was so embarrassed. And I was kind of in a weird in between. So I'm not sure what people really thought at the time, but I was breaking down because I didn't want to go home. And that just for me just demonstrates what it was like on this trip. Like it was such a transformative experience to where almost like I said in my sermon, I felt like a kid again and I didn't want to have to come back home and lose that feeling. And so since then, that's just been like a grounding practice for me. You know, how do I get back to that feeling? How do I achieve that again? And honestly, it was just finding the simplicity, at least for me. Like all of our joys were found in I learned how to do a front flip. There's videos of Matilda almost breaking her neck trying to do a backflip, and Henry crashing out because he couldn't do a backflip, and Matilda got it before him. Like it was this dynamic that was but hilarious, but we were all together and we almost grew as a group in just like a very unique way. And for me, one of the highlights of this trip was seeing Rafe on this 8-hour flight back to the US with no phone and nothing to do. And perfect for Rafe, our flight gets diverted from DC and we end up in Philly. We're on the tarmac for 2 hours. And I look back and Rafe is playing with his headphones because he has nothing else to do. And it was like one of the funniest things. I think the rest of the plane hated us because we were that annoying American group in the front just cracking up at everything. Maybe we were delirious, but still.
Yeah, we talked about God moments. It was like at the end of the day, you kind of sit together and talk about where we've seen God. And the first couple days, I would say, I didn't have a lot to say, and it was, I don't know, I expected like, I don't know what I thought, but maybe that the clouds would part and God would, speak to me. Hello, Brady. But that didn't happen, and it took me to like the fourth or fifth day where I was like, I looked around and like, I don't know if that's actually where I see God, and I think He's more in the small things. And Amelia said this in her sermon too, but like just the community, and then I made all these great friendships that I didn't have before. Like I think that's powerful, and that's where God is. I remember like 2 years ago, I was sitting right here, thinking, wow, that's so far away, but I don't know, like it's. I wish I took more time and been like it was something I was looking forward to the whole time. And I was like, that's where I find God. But I wish, I took more time like before that and now, and just, be present with myself and like see God in the normal mundane. So yeah.
You haven't seen me carrying this around. This is our J2A walking stick. It's a new thing we started. We just take it where we go, and I'd like to invite all the J2A 25 members, and you, Kathy, you two come to hold, and Gary, sorry, you two. Just hold the stick, I guess. Touch it. Attempt.
And right.
Yay! And now we'd like to pass on the stick to the J2A 27? 27 class. Be careful with it. Yes.
We also just want to say we'd like to thank the parish for funding this trip abroad. It was very meaningful and we feel like we got your money's worth. So I hope you feel like you got your money's worth. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Kathy, Gary, and Cotton and Dawn for also.
Genuinely, they made this one of the most enjoyable experiences, and I don't know if I could have done it with anybody else, being in a bathroom for that long.
Yeah.
But they are like our family, and I hope that they weren't gonna do another time. So y'all are lucky that you get to have another 2 years with them and cherish those moments.
At this time, we are coming right up against the hour, but we have 10 minutes for anyone who can please stay because we've got more to share from the summer. I'd like to invite our J2A pilgrims. Thank you, first of all, so much for this amazing presentation. And we've got a group who went to Camp Joy this summer, and I'd like to invite our J2A pilgrims who weren't part of Camp Joy to go ahead and take a seat where our Camp Joy people were. There are lots of empty seats because we've got people in these bright yellow t-shirts coming up to talk with you about Camp Joy. There are some green shirted people still up here because we have some kids who were both part of the pilgrimage and part of Camp Joy this summer. Sit down. And while we're doing this transition, I know pilgrims have already said this, but I want to just say one more time, a great big thank you to the adult leaders who have been instrumental in this 2-year process of J2A. And they are Cotton Walsh, Kathy Kemper-Dean, and Gary Dean. And as I'm saying thank you, I also want to introduce Camp Joy by saying thank you to the 2 people who we call our boots on the ground BOG leaders for Camp Joy. And they are Rob Hunter and Jessica Flugie. And you'll hear more about our many adults who shared in that week. So.
All right, well, thank you. We're going to start hearing from about Camp Joy.
So Camp Joy stands for the Christian Appalachian Mission Project Joining Other Youth. It is a week-long camp in West Virginia where we went and we repaired houses for people who either didn't have the funds or ability to do some themselves. St. John's was one of many churches that participated, and it was a wonderful bonding experience for everyone involved. So this is the team, everybody who went to Camp Joy, who bonded. And Dawn already introduced Jessica, my mom, and Rob, who helped lead us. But there was also Mr. Joe, who was the worksite coordinator, and he was the guy who had the tools and knew everything. Who's doing the Monday projects?
Zach and I are going to give a brief overview of the projects that we worked on. Do you remember the first one?
Yeah, so for our first one, we did flood repair. So we threw out a lot of stuff and fixed someone's floor up, which really helped them. Yeah, that's kind of it for the first one. Took a long time though. Took actually 5 days, the whole 5 days.
That house ended up being a lot more than we expected. We had to like jack up the floor and then like replace beams in this guy's basement. Some of the other projects we worked on, I think we fixed windows and painted. Oh yeah, a lot of painting. On like railings and decks.
Yeah, did a lot of painting. I don't know. So that house, we knocked down some things on the porch here, replaced it. Had to be very careful of the beams because they were very loose. But yeah, it was a great experience. Also, the homeowner came back and we were because her door was like really weird and it was like starting to fall apart. So she pulled her door and it folded inwards like that. It was like this. Yeah.
I forget how many more projects there were. There was a lot of railing building, with the balusters. The pit? Oh, so that house that we worked on, the homeowner had no way of getting in and out of that pit in her backyard. I think it used to be a pool or used to have a pool in it. We built a staircase that goes all the way down into that pit. And then we built a walkway for her to walk from her back door to the staircase.
I don't think I was at this house. I'm not gonna lie. So that's all you.
I was not at this house either. From what I heard, we were either staining or painting that entire deck. And I'm being told there were 43 cats on the property that needed to be kept off of that deck while it was being painted.
So yeah, the owners is probably the most impactful thing on all of us. I heard from her over there in the car ride back that this lady in the middle who didn't have a way to get out of her pit, that she cried because she was so grateful because she couldn't afford any of this, and we did it for her. So that was probably the most impactful thing that happened to me that trip. But yeah. I think that's it.
Hello, I'm Carter. So every night we went to different churches, and they organized different dinners for us. The first night it was on the campsite, and a church came and provided the food for us. My favorite night was, I think it was this night, because I think it was the Hancock United Methodist Church, and they were very kind hosts, and they made all these tacos for us. I think they had like let the meat marinate for 12 hours, and it was quite tasty. So that was a fun moment. Also, you can kind of see that we like tore apart the tablecloth. But that was just like a moment for us to bond. So every dinner, I mean, I got to hang out with people who I just didn't really know before, because I used to live in London for the last 3 years. So coming back to the church and getting to meet people, reconnect with people, that was something that happened every dinner, and they got to see who I am, and so that was very very meaningful for me. Um, and so, yeah, so we had these evening meals every night organized by a church. And then we had these team building activities that we did when we got back to the campsite. So this wasn't on the campsite, but this was like one of the lakes we went to. And I think it's kind of like a like national park, somewhere in West Virginia. I don't really know. And there was thunder, so we were only able to swim for 30 minutes, maybe even less than that, honestly. And then thunder hit, and we couldn't do anything for the next 3 hours. So instead, we were playing like, I don't know, we were playing like monkey in the middle, something like that, with the little beach volleyball. So that was a lot of fun. Also, we had a frisbee. It was someone's frisbee. It might have been someone from like another church, but we just kind of took it. But we did a lot of like frisbee throwing. And then I think my favorite thing, and I think everyone in our Camp Joy group participated in this event, was Gaga Ball. So this was the moment, like for anyone who doesn't know what Gaga Ball is, you're in this like pit. So it's like a pit basically for like a pen for like pigs basically. We're not pigs obviously, but the way it works is you have to hit the ball with your hands, and you get people out by hitting their legs. Anything below the knee counts. Above the knee does not count, and you play until the last one standing basically. So we did this every night. And this was a moment that we were able to meet different churches, people from different churches. Like there was one church called Hollywood, and other than our church, they probably had the largest contingent. And so I think they also had like 18, 20 people. So we got to meet everyone by day 5 or whatever it was, day 6, Friday. Friday night, we knew everyone, and we knew everyone's names, and yeah, we bonded with these other churches, something that I didn't really know was possible. But yeah, I mean, this was an awesome part of Camp Joy with the team building. What's next, Vespers?
So every night we had something called Vespers, which was like a way that we would reflect on the day that we had. There was a lot of singing and dancing. And overall, it was probably some of our favorite moments. But we were given a question to reflect on throughout the week on the first night that we were there, and it was, "What's your God sighting?" And so over the week, we had time to ponder on what our God sighting might be. And when it came time for Friday, they allowed anybody to come up to the microphone and say what their God sighting was. And when you're sitting shoulder to shoulder with the kids that you spent every day with for the last 5 days, it was definitely an emotional time where you kind of just you didn't want it to be over. And I think that after so many things happened at camp,
it was hard to like let go and realize that it was all ending.
I guess I'll do the take. I think someone else was supposed to do it, right? My biggest takeaway, kind of what Miriam said, was like the Friday night vespers with all of the God sightings. I shared that I have anxiety, and a lot of people actually came up and talked about how they have anxiety after that. So that was very meaningful for me, being able to be vulnerable with others and seeing how people respond to my vulnerability. Also, just like I didn't really want to go to this camp at all. Like I really didn't want to go to this camp. I've done a bunch of hiking. When we lived in London, I did a lot of hiking every year, and I hated it. So I wasn't really looking forward to this experience. My mom pushed me to do it, and eventually I just had to relent. Like I just couldn't. There was no more fighting. But honestly, like all jokes aside, I had an amazing time. It was just it was so cool to be able to reconnect with the St. John's community. And I now I feel just like more part of this community, which is something that I had missed for the last like 4 years. So yeah, my biggest takeaway was just being able to bond with people and then helping everyone, like helping all these leaders and these elders, like who were not able to build these things for themselves, not able to afford the repairs. That was special, being able to like to see the smiles on these people's faces and to see how much our work meant to them. And this was probably like, I mean, I think everyone just felt closer to God in this moment because we were all just we weren't doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for like a greater purpose. And I think all of us kind of realized that purpose during this camp. So yeah, there's so many takeaways. I mean, I could keep talking, honestly.
Wait. Oh, I thought we were doing the next place. Okay. I think my biggest takeaway from camp is going in strangers with all of these peers that I've like worked alongside my whole life, but never truly gotten to know them, and just coming out best friends.
I like this. I want to quickly give a special shout out to my boy James. He's in Taiwan right now. He's been a great friend of mine for many years. I've known him since middle school, and I hope he's doing great. Yeah.
In general, we all had like a good time at Camp Joy. And for next year, we hope that everyone who can come will come to help other people.
So if you're here today, I want you to know you can be part of Camp Joy. You can't go to Ireland with J2A, but I wanted to say a huge thank you. Betsy, Alan, Gary, Rob, all of these adults actually came out to Camp Joy for a night or two to support Rob and I as we were there camping all week. And it was wonderful. You get to know the kids, you get to drive them around, take them to Dairy Queen, have some fun. You can come for a night or two and just support the community that is helping this community. So for adults out there, A, you can be part of it. And number two, think about people in your orbit who have skills that are related to handiwork. Can they drill? Can they paint? Can they, help plan a project? Because those are skills that Camp Joy needs for their projects. And the people who've been helping us, like wonderful Mr. Joe, at some point, they're going to want to retire. And we need people to kind of, come up and take their place. So if you have those skills, or you know people who do, please come talk to me or Dawn or Rob. We would love to get to know them. We'd love to kind of incorporate them to our world. Rob, I think you had some stuff you wanted to say too. Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, to Julie Munoz and Cynthia Grimes for getting this started again after COVID. The success we had this year was on the foundation you all did last year. Also, thank you to Jessica for being the real organization behind all this and driving everything, and Dawn coordinating. And then thank you to the kids for they worked so hard. It was unbelievable, really above and beyond. And it was really special to be part of that week. Thank you for allowing me to be part of it. This has been the best week of my last 2 years. So just to echo everything that Jessica said, if you can participate, I highly recommend it. Thank you.
Did something else? They can get SSL hours too. As Jessica said, you can get SSL hours if you're a kid. I just want to, we're past time. Thank you, St. John's, for your support of both our pilgrimage program, our Camp Joy program, all the programs that we have here at St. John's to raise our next generation. It's such important work, and I really appreciate the opportunity to partner with each of you in this room. We have really come beyond the end of our time together. If you have questions, please feel free. I'll stick around for a few minutes. Anybody in the yellow shirt is a Camp Joy person if you want to find out more from them. Anyone in the green shirt is a J2A pilgrim. You can find out more from them. But I do want to make sure I name names of the adults who helped this past week, Camp Joy week, along with Rob and Jessica, who were our boots on the ground leaders. We had Becky Berman, Gary Dean, Nerida King, who's back in Australia now, Rob Malloy, Mara Reamer, Betsy Samuel, and Alan Snyder. Thank you to all of them. And I think it would be appropriate. Let's just close our time together in prayer. Loving God, thank you so much for this community of people. Guide us as we seek to hear your voice, know your peace, and share your love with each other and with your world. In Jesus' name, amen. Have a great week.